You see the recording up in the corner? I just want to make sure. Okay. Hi, everybody. This is Julie from the Quantum Feather, and welcome back if you've been following us on YouTube. Today, I am meeting with Danielle Harrison, and like I explained in my introduction video, I will be interviewing people who have something to share with society, some new knowledge to help heal humanity. So Danielle is going to tell us a little bit about herself first, and then we're going to get into discussing her experience and her knowledge of being a Reiki master and this new knowledge she is learning, which is called divine intentional healing. So Danielle, welcome, and I'm glad to be doing this again with you. I mean, you're helping me kind of practice.
Thanks for having me here again. I'm really enjoying this.
Well, so why don't you go ahead and just start?
I am a Reiki master and a divine intentional healing practitioner, which is something I just recently became aligned to. And I mostly, the Reiki I use for my family and my animals. I don't actually do it professionally because I work at home as a jewelry designer. I work with crystals and gemstones.
Well, we were discussing your training and how you got into it. So why don't you tell us about that?
Oh, for the gemstones and crystals?
For the Reiki, what prompted you to go start?
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I had met my friend Jessica in California online, and we became really good friends. Well, she eventually became a Reiki master and taught Reiki, and she aligned me to, or attuned me to level 1. I guess it's been about 10 years ago, about 9 years ago. And I did level 1 for a long time. And then eventually she attuned me to level 2, where you use the symbol. And then at some point, she decided to hold a retreat. She had never done that before. So she held a retreat, and I went to the retreat in California, and she attuned me to level 3 and Reiki master. So now I'm a Reiki master.
So explain to people, because I'm trying to simplify the information. So what is attunement? When you say that, what does that mean?
You're attuned to the energies of Reiki. Somehow they're brought in and become part of you, I guess you could say. And then the symbols call in certain parts or certain aspects of the Reiki energy. Like you have a emotional symbol, you have a power symbol, you have a distance symbol, so you can work on people distance, stuff like that.
So where does the energy come from that you're pulling down and attuning people with?
From my understanding, it's coming from the Reiki masters. There's actually master Reiki guides. That it's the Reiki realm. I'm not sure exactly, but it comes from the Sui lineage. All I know is when I turn it on, I can feel it coming out of my fingers, and I know there's healing going on, and it's just amazing,
So when you're getting an attunement, is it done through the chakra system? Or is it done just at different points of the body?
Okay, you're asking me questions I don't know.
Because I'm trying to understand it too, because
because she is the one that does the attunement. She actually, she lays her hands on me and goes through this whole ceremony. So I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
All I know is the energy is brought into me and it becomes part of me. I am aligned with it. It's as a matter of fact, I don't even have to call on the symbols most of the time. If I'm in a hurry, I'll just say, let's go, and it's there.
So let's talk about the energy, because some people may say, okay, that's a little strange. You're allowing someone to put energy into your body, but energy work is becoming such a big thing, and a lot of people, they do it already. Like even when you're getting a massage, acupuncture, chiropractic, any type of healing work like that, you're using energy because you're putting your hands on someone.
Right.
So the people don't understand that. But
Right.
that's,
And it's weird because that you say this, I was listening to an interview and they were actually QHHT practitioners, and then it was a session. The guides came through and were saying that we are all healers. We're all channeling energy through our hands. The guy that was on the table during the session was actually a hairstylist. And they said, you are sending healing through your hands when you're cutting someone's hair.
yes.
So we are all healers to some extent.
Even like cooks, you know, when they're preparing a meal, that's why they say when you prepare a meal, prepare it with love, because you're
Right.
putting energy into that.
Right.
You know, so you really need to be careful who's cooking your food.
Right. I mean, and so when you're doing something with a joyful heart, you're sending that love and that feeling to whoever you're touching or you're working on.
Yeah. So Reiki, we talked about Reiki, but the divine healing now, that energy, do you understand where that energy is being pulled down from? Where, you know,
the divine intentional healing is coming from, you're actually working with 5 archangels. So it's coming from the archangelic realm. I don't know if there's between archangelic or the angelic realm, but it's coming from them. And for this, and this is actually called, they call it an alignment. With Reiki, it's called an attunement. With divine intentional healing, it's called an alignment.
Okay. So, which archangels do you know? Which 5 you're working with?
So Metatron, which he is working with the crown and the third eye. Gabriel, I'm trying to remember. Gabriel works with the throat chakra and the heart. Jophiel works with the aura and solar plexus. And then Archangel Michael, sacral plexus and root chakra. So that's the 5.
Yeah, that's surprising. So Archangel Michael works with the lower chakras, which are the more physical, you know, chakras. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And so like when I am working, so divine intentional healing is when she aligned each of us. It was really cool because it entailed 2 meditations. There wasn't an actual ceremony where she, like for Reiki, where she did that, where there was actually a ceremony where she put the symbols and inserted them in through our crown and stuff like that. This was, it was actually a meditation. And the first meditation was for preparing us, preparing your channel. And we went through that meditation. And, you know, and depending on if you needed to release things to prepare yourself, some people were feeling some things to release, to prepare for that, because it's opening your channel to the higher realm energy. I mean, it's strong.
So where those lower energy, the lower energies can't stay attached to you when you're in vibration with that higher realm energy.
You know, and you know, there were a couple people who felt it in an extreme way, and then so we did the second meditation, which was actually, I guess, we're the final stages of it, you know, bringing in the energy. And then we practiced on each other. And there's so many different ways that people actually experience. I mean, of course, you want to feel it, you want to hear, you want to, you know, sense and all this stuff. But for me, it's mostly something I felt it. And then I would get the archangels would tell you where to put your hands. I would get quick visions of where to put my hands to work on this person.
Have you ever had any experiences where you've used the energy to heal yourself?
Yes, I do that every night. And that's actually been part of the whole process. Divine intentional healing is mainly for self-healing, the emotional and physical. So you have to work on yourself for at least a month. And that's coming from my teacher, before you're actually able to work on others. So you're working on all your things that you need to get rid of, healing your emotional levels, all your crap, and then you're also healing, you know, your physical. So this as soon as you get to a certain point, you'll know it and you're able to work on others. But this is not able to be used on animals, which is the only thing, because I work with animals quite a bit. I just work with them with Reiki. So, but I can work on others. I usually work on my family with divine intentional healing and Reiki.
You know, I think it can also almost be compared to the energy that is coming down to us now. It's starting to heal people, but a lot of what it's doing is making people resolve their own issues, especially psychologically, to clear that away, to make I guess a structure for healing to happen.
Right.
You know, so it's the same thing, kind of that you've been doing with Reiki, is helping people release that first.
Right.
But you mentioned animals, so let's talk about animals and what kind of benefits that this type of healing can have with them.
Or for the animals, you know, they suffer emotional things and physical things just like we do. So, I mean, I use probably Reiki on my animals at least once a day. Sometimes there's emergencies where I have to rescue a bird, and so you know, I'm in the yard and I grab them, and you know, I know the Reiki's already been activated, so I just hold the bird.
So how many animals are you caring for right now?
Well, we just put one to sleep a couple weeks ago, so now we're down to 9 cats.
You have dogs?
Yeah, one dog.
Any birds?
No, just the ones I rescue in the wild.
Yeah.
It's yeah. When you have cats, you're always rescuing others.
So
I have one cat that he I saw him from a distance come into the backyard, and he had something in his mouth. And I walked out there, and I saw that it was one of those big furry field mice. They're actually really pretty. But I always grab gloves when I'm on the way out the door because I know there's going to be something, and I don't know how this animal is going to react to me trying to help.
Right. Yeah.
So I looked at my cat. He had it in his mouth, and I looked at him, and I said, "Spencer, put the mouse down." You know, that cat walked up to me, dropped the mouse, and kept walking. I picked the mouse, did Reiki, and then I released it. It was fine. I think animals are changing. I really do.
Yeah, I'm starting to find too, like sometimes in our yard, you know, I'll find a dead animal. But even on the side of the road down here in the South, you see armadillos and possums. And so now I'm getting the mindset to help release energy if there's anything left. I don't know why. I think just so it's just kind of, you know, it goes back to where it needs to go back to.
Right.
Is that the intention when you do that?
Yeah, and you know, and also, you know, if we have one that's passed away, we'll bury it, and I'll do a little sage ceremony, you know.
Yeah.
Tell it thank you for your medicine, and you know, and then put it in the ground. And we usually bury it. We have a fairy patch. We bury it in the fairy patch. You know.
Yeah.
I'd like to help, like to send it back, you know, with a little love, you know.
Tell everybody what a fairy pot is, because I promise you some of the people I know will not know what that is.
No, it's a fairy, we call it, it's a fairy patch.
Oh, okay. So it's an area in your yard.
We have this area that's really wet on our property, so we let it grow up and just be natural. Let the trees let it grow, and it started filling in. So we have they like wet areas, so the fairies, we have a lot of fairies that are on our property. Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. My husband's the one that's more in tune to the fairies, so we'll have to bring him on one day.
Yeah, eventually we're gonna have to sit down and let him join in the discussion with us.
Yeah, he's the one that comes in my studio and tells me, because you know I design jewelry in my home studio, and he'll come in there and say, you know, if you only knew how many people are in your, or how many fairies are in your, you have an audience. It's probably a good thing I can't see them. So yeah, he said there's like 30 to 40 beings in my studio watching me work. So yeah, we have a lot of fairy activity here.
Wouldn't it be surprising if we can actually see all the beings that surround us right now and are watching?
Well, that's supposed to change. I mean, as soon as the energies, increase, and eventually the veil is going to come down. I mean, we're supposed to be able to connect with loved ones, even.
Yeah,
So
that's exciting.
I'm excited about that. Yeah.
So there was a story that you and your brother Gordon was talking about a dog, and that he got. Wait, so he's not here. He has to work, so we'll get him next time. But tell the people who are watching about that story.
Well, Gordon, my brother, he's in Louisiana. He was inside with his family. I think they were eating dinner or something. It was raining really bad outside, and he got a knock on the back door. He said it was like a literal knock. He opened the door, and there was this 3 or 4 month old puppy, part boxer, part something else. And he said it was weird because the weeks prior to, he had mentioned that he was thinking in his head that he would like to get a boxer. So it's so weird. I think so. He gets this dog, and he's got some things going on in his family. A lot of trial and tribulation. I don't know what you call it. Yeah. But anyway, the dog was a lot for him to handle. He worked a lot. Well, he kept the dog for a few months, and then because it was too much for him to handle, the dog ended up getting picked up by a dog catcher because it got out of the yard. And my brother called me, and we had just lost our oldest dog, he was 18, and she'd been gone, a few weeks. So I said, you know what, just bring him up here. So he brought the dog to me, and he ended up having liver issues, and he actually almost died. He went into liver failure, coma, and almost died. And the vet called me and says, I don't expect him to make it through the night, because he was at the vet, and that's when he went into a coma. And they came in the next morning, and would you know that dog lived through the coma? So yeah, she says she's never seen a dog come out of a coma like that. Never seen one come out of it. They usually pass away. So this dog is all healthy now. I mean, he's got a small liver, but he's just on special food. But we call him our miracle puppy. So Gordon got information through a dream that dog came to him. His name's Axonite, named after a gemstone. The dog came to him to help him with his trauma related to his marriage. And he took on the trauma. So to me, that says you take on emotional, and it shows up in the physical. So somehow I relate that to that.
Say that again. You're breaking up a little bit.
So
say that again, because I didn't hear you.
Well, they say that your emotional is show up in the physical. So the dream he had was the dog took the trauma from him, and it became the physical issue of his liver. Now this is just from our experience. This is what we gathered from it.
Right.
So am I clear? Can you understand me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and then the dog is now with me, helping me heal. So my grief that he came to heal was, we had lost, over the last 2 years, we have lost 7 animals from our family. 7 animals. 3 dogs and 4 cats. That's a lot. So there was a lot of grief.
Yeah.
This dog came and brought us joy. Me and my husband, joy. And he's not been nothing but a joy.
Yeah. It's almost like some of the animals go to you just so they have that comfort, and they're able to pass on to, the other realms where they go.
Oh, he's definitely a healing dog. He's a healer. So we're healers, but animals are healers too.
Yes.
And then, so because I had always wondered where this dog came from, if he had been with me or my brother before. So I went into meditation and I received information that it was 2 names, which was really weird. I was like, okay, because we had a dog, they said Scoots, which was one of the names, and Scooter. I heard both names. So I get out of meditation, I'm like, how can it be both? And then, I guess this was higher guidance came through. It was the same dog, the same soul. He had been with us twice, once as a female and once as a male. So
Wow.
he belonged to us when we were children as our pet twice.
Wow.
And now he's here again. So yeah, that was just.
That's great.
Sorry for such a long story, but it just has it's just really cool. I just love it.
People just need to understand that our connection with animals is more than just having them as pets and dressing them up in clothes.
Yeah.
Treating them like children, because that's what people do. They tend to treat them like children. And but actually, their purpose here is to help us learn unconditional love,
right?
And to help heal. I'm gonna tell you, I had a little story. That in the area I live, we bought this house because I really love the sacredness of the trees. There's oak trees and pine trees, and I was really drawn to that energy. And so I had set an intention out there when we first moved here that animals are welcome here, that, if they come in the yard, because I love the birds and the squirrels, and I love seeing all that. So this is a safe haven. So whoever enters the space of the trees here is in a safe haven. Mm-hmm. So over the years, we've had different kind of birds coming in and out, and I'm seeing new species and things. But one day, we're sitting in the living room, and I hear this knocking on the door. So I go and open the door, and it's this huge turtle. I have a picture of it. I think I'm gonna put the picture up of that too, of the turtle at the door, and I'm gonna put a picture up of your dog too. Okay. But what's the dog's name again?
Axonite.
Okay, so we'll put his picture up too, so people who's watching this video can see it. But this turtle was just, like trying to come inside of the house, and it cracked me up. So over the years, I noticed inside of my house that there's this path that the turtles use from the back. They come and cross over, and they're going to wherever they're going. To I don't know if they're going to mate, to lay eggs, what they're going to do.
Migration path.
Yeah, I think it's a migration path. And then so I thought that was pretty cool. So we see turtles all the time. And then one day I came home, and in the front by my driveway there's this big oak tree, and it has like a hole at the bottom, like a little burrow. Mm-hmm. And I see this possum in this burrow, and I see the possum's head sticking out the burrow. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. Never seen that. Usually possums come out at night, right. They're mostly nocturnal, and but this possum was sitting there. So I started looking closer. This possum had died. So it had taken its body and it backed itself up into the that hole in the tree and just died. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I thought that was a little strange. And then so this happened again. We had a turtle come in the yard again, and this turtle was sick, and we can tell it was sick. And my husband just put it in a pool with some water, and until it passed away. And then the other day, he opened up the door to the garage, and there was a rat snake sitting right there by the garage, just sitting there by the door, like, I'm here. So I'm like, there's this crazy thing with animals. They come here because either they feel like it's a good place to pass away, or, like there's something about the energy here. So I'm starting to learn more about the kind of energy that animals pick up on from you as well.
Right.
Yeah. So
that's cool. That's really cool. Yeah, they're coming to you because they feel drawn to the light.
Yes.
And they know it feels safety there. So,
yeah. So whether it's through passing away, like you've experienced, or, just to be in a safe place, And it brings me a lot of joy to see them there, healing. And also in my backyard, I have a rabbit. I think it's a hare. It's a brown, it's pretty big. And I think it's a female. I don't bother her, but she's been here for a couple years. So yeah, so I think it's kind of, I live on about an acre. I don't live out in the middle of nowhere. And I'm like, I have all these animals here. You know? I do think the trees help that too, because it gives them shelter, and they're able to be here.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I love animals.
So as we're changing into this new energy and our connection and relationship with animals is changing, in the beginning in the Bible, mankind actually was able to communicate with animals.
Right.
A totally different relationship with animals. So this is a good time to bring in, we talked about this earlier, and you were helping me with this, and that's your vegan diet, and why you chose to do that, and what kind of consequences it has for us eating meat.
Right. Well, it's been a journey to be vegan. It's not easy. But when we think about what the animal goes through at their moment of death, turning vegan is nothing compared to that. So, but it's not easy. People, it's just when you have a love for animals, I guess it makes it easier. But a lot of people haven't opened their hearts up to animals, so it's different for them. But the one thing to think about, though, and this is just my opinion, it's just from my experience. So, I mean, you don't have to agree with me. That's okay. I'm just, it's just, I'm talking about just whoever's listening. They don't have to agree. It's okay.
Yeah.
For me, my love for animals is what changed me. But there's another aspect. We want to eat a high vibration diet. And when we eat the flesh of animals who are at their last moments or feeling fear and pain, we're taking in that energy, and it's not beneficial for us. It's my kids.
I see.
He's giving us a butt shot. So you got two aspects. You got one that it's just your love for animals. If you have a heart connection with animals, it's not hard to make that change. But also it's the vibration of what you're consuming when you eat animal products or eat animal flesh. Think about their last moments, their fear, their pain. So all that is in the meat that you're taking in and you're bringing it into the body. It's eating plants. I feel so much better eating plants because they're high vibrational. Plants are meant for us to consume. Because if you think of it this way, people always say, "Well, you're killing plants." Well, actually, you're not. When you go eat fruit from a tree or an avocado, or when you pick things to eat off of a plant, you're not killing the plant. They're offering up their fruit to you. So the plant's still alive.
Yes.
Sharing their fruit with you. This is for you to eat, but you're not killing me.
Right.
So, look at it that way. And then, but when you eat an animal, it's dead. You're eating it. That's it. So,
I never heard it explained in that way, but to me, it makes a lot more sense because the plants, our relationship with them is a different relationship.
Yeah.
And they were actually, I think the purpose of them is definitely for healing, and in order to use them to heal us, we have to ingest them.
Right.
And not always. We can use them in essential oils and things like that, like people are doing.
Right.
But sharing their fruit with us is definitely a good perspective and a good way to look at it, because they're not really dead. They can be reborn, or they can continue to grow even.
Well, and then I've also had people say, well, when you eat potatoes, you pull the whole plant up. Well, but you actually can take that potato and plant it back in the ground and grow a new plant. So you're not actually killing. You're just like carrots and potatoes and other plants where the actual, fruit is actually in the ground. You do have to pull them up, but you're able to replant them using, the potato or the carrot, you know, the part that actually seeds into the brain, you know.
And, you know, plants don't only share, like give us nutritional substance. Psychedelics have been used for years, for centuries, for a long time through shamanic practices. And they help us in our mental processes and help clear that negative energy away from us. They were used in a respectful way. They were used as sacraments that were given during special times of the year, during the cycles, because during those cycles, we're supposed to be clearing things. So, and then we talked about essential oils and perfumes. So, and that's also healing, you know, herbs, drying herbs, and then using them later in our food. That's healing modality as well. So, you know, the plants, not only do we, you know, take them in nutritionally, that they have many purposes that they serve for us. Yeah. So
they're, granted, you have, you know, the whole other subject of GMO versus non-GMO. I mean, I do my best to find organic non-GMO, but it's really hard to find for everything you eat.
So we'll talk about the GMOs for a minute. I'm not a specialist, but we can talk about it's genetically modified. Those genetic modifications to our food, which I think is happening, is it's not having the same beneficial, either if it's nutritional or medicinal or psychoactive effects on us that they would have had normally. They're changing the structure of them, and this is being done, and some of it's being done just to produce larger, to produce more of a fruit or a vegetable for money purposes. You know, it's done for profit. It's not done to make the food more nutritional, to make it better, to make it, you know, it's done because they want to make more of it. But what actually it's doing is it's changing the properties of those plants, and they're affecting our bodies in a negative way.
That's why we have so many allergies nowadays.
Yes.
Well, and they've also taken, I watched a special on it. They're actually, it's a poison to kill bugs, to help the plants be bug resistant. They've incorporated some kind of a chemical in their DNA structure. So when we consume these plants, we're consuming that poison. So that's, you know, and it's killing us not instantaneously, but it's killing us over time.
Yes.
You know, and it's making us, you know, gluten intolerant and all these other allergies that are out there that weren't around way back when. They are now. You know, I'm gluten. I don't have the, is it called, what's the disease for, I can't remember the name of it, but I just, it does me, it's more beneficial for me to stay away from gluten.
Yeah. You know, you can drive down a farm road in Louisiana. We have lots of them, and you'll see these numbers next to the crops. So that's the seed, what seeds they're using, and those seeds are some of it are experimental, and a lot of the farmers are being forced to use these seeds. And the Roundup is one of the worst chemicals that they're using in everything. And if you look at corn and you look at yellow corn, corn is a genetically modified plant. That's not the original form of it. So even though we're eating corn and it's healthy, well, you're still getting genetically modified product. If you look back, the types of corn they had, you know, the Native Americans used different types. They have the blue corn, you know, and it went by a different name. I think they called it maize or something like that, right? And so they use corn syrup. They use corn in a lot of products. And like you said, people are developing allergies to it. And this reminds me too, like, because I live in Louisiana, mosquitoes are definitely a problem. So we all have these ditches in front of our homes where water drains off into, and it drains off into a bigger area for flooding because we're at high risk for flooding. So what all my neighbors do is they like to spray those ditches to keep the grass and the growth of the plants away, so there's a clear pathway for the water to go to. I can't stand that. And my poor husband, I'll make him get out there with a weed eater, and we eat the plants and down because I don't want the poison put into the ground.
Mhm.
And but I also believe that what these plants do in that area is that they are a ecology system for the insects that actually eat the mosquitoes. They're
Mhm.
saying that they grow there. Well, let me tell you, dragonflies, frogs, all those animals that are eating the mosquitoes, that's where they are born and they're produced, and that's where they live.
Yeah,
So
so the poison's definitely not going to be beneficial for
yeah.
them.
So I didn't cut, my husband didn't cut the ditch, and we had a lot of flowers, going into it. And, also these plants absorb a lot of water.
Mhm.
It's not like they aren't beneficial and like they're blocking the path of the water. They also absorb water. But
Right.
the city came and they cut the ditch with this big lawnmower. And I was kind of sad because the dragonfly population in my yard is dropping. I used to see them everywhere. I think I've seen 3 of them this year so far.
Mhm.
And then the mosquito spraying truck came behind him and sprayed the ditch with poison anyway. So I've been trying to keep the Roundup and stuff out of it, but people don't realize that they want to get rid of the mosquitoes, and I understand that. You want to get rid of mosquitoes, you have a bunch of dragonflies in your yard.
Right.
That's the best way. So we're killing that cycle of what nature has already set up that works.
Right.
In place, we're using these poisons, in our system.
Right.
Yeah. So, and then of course other animals, the turtles go through there, and animals drink out of there, like the rabbits and stuff.
Yeah, they drink this out of the dishwater, exactly.
Yeah, so they're drinking in that poison as well. So I just, I didn't want to get on my soapbox about it, but I'm just like, we block out what kind of imprint and what kind of destruction we're creating around us in our environment.
Mhm.
We're okay with digging up coal, and I know it brings jobs, and here in Louisiana, oil is a big thing, and I know it brings jobs, and people, can survive that way.
Mhm.
But it is really, there are better ways of having power now. Free energy is definitely coming out. I'm glad I'm starting to see it in more areas. Solar energy, even, it's an older one, and I know it's updated now, and I know a lot of, some of my neighbors have it, and I love that. So we really don't need to be destroying our environment the way we are, but, I know it's hard to say, let's shut down the oil rigs, and then how many people are going to be without work?
Mhm.
So when we had that big oil disaster out here in Louisiana, that big oil spill,
Mhm.
and the damage it did to the ecological system around here, the shrimp yield wasn't the same, the fish, the birds, for years. Even now they're still seeing some mutations from that and what happened. My hope is that, though, Mother Nature knows how to heal herself. And if given enough time, she will do it, if left alone. But as long as we continue to contribute to the detrimental effects of it, the habitats are going to continue to die off.
Right.
And I love the bayous out here. I love the marsh. I love, the lakes, and it's just such a beautiful place. And it's the plenty of these. Also, people live off of fishing. They live off of shrimping. They live off of, the crawfish out here, and it's a way of living for a lot of people. The oysters. So what that has done is, it, for one, corporate, I don't even know how to say it, benefit, such as the oil companies, it killed off and hurt a lot of people who survive on fishing and shrimping, and a lot of people shut down. They couldn't do it anymore because it destroyed it. So, but I'm starting to see it come back. So it does make me hopeful, because I don't want people to live in that that mindset of negativity. Like everybody's evil. No, there's only a handful of people in our society who are evil, but as long as we allow it and we're not pushing, this clean energy, those can create jobs, for people.
Right.
But you have to have the support of the people to do it. They have to be conscious of what they're doing, just like with animals, eating animals, and You know, I remember when I was younger, we see all these animals being hauled in these huge, in the back of semi trucks, and you see the chickens, and they're all shoved in the cages and everything, and the same with cows and things like that. And actually, for a field trip when I was younger, we went to a chicken, a chicken farm, and this thing was humongous, and they were just crammed up everywhere. They were all walking in poop everywhere and everything. It was not a clean place. And in some of the videos showing what they do to those animals, like cutting off the beaks and things like that, or
they treat them like they're less.
Yeah.
Like they're not important. They treat them like they don't, like they're nothing. Like they don't have feelings.
Yeah.
Very sad. Very sad.
So we've become disconnected not only from our environment, but also from those souls. And we're going to talk about souls of animals in a minute, of those animals that live with us.
Right.
Have we been so disconnected as a human being that we no longer have any type of empathy for the beings that live here with us?
Right.
People really need to examine that.
Right.
So you told me you had a discussion about animal souls.
Right.
Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. Like I said, this is just sharing my experiences and information from my higher self that comes through. I was raised Baptist, and I don't know about all religions. This is just for me, because that's why I was raised. Animals don't have souls. That's what I've always been taught. But of course, as I started questioning things as I got older, beginning about 2008, and I always didn't agree with that totally, because I've always loved animals since I can remember. I just didn't sit well with me. I'm like, how could God create, according to the Bible, God created all these beautiful things, but only humans have souls? It just didn't sit well with me, So, and then there's this argument that, well, it doesn't say in the Bible that animals have souls. Well, it doesn't say they don't either. And then, I've had people say, or I've heard discussions where people would say, that that they're not intelligent enough to have souls. And I'm like, what? Because intelligent compared to what? I mean, are we supposed to be like the be all end all of intelligence?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, of course, they don't speak the same language as us. They have their own language. They have families. They care for their families. I mean, have you seen a mother, sheep or a mother cow caring for their baby? It's just, I mean, how can you say that they're any different than we are?
Right.
They're on four legs. They breathe the same air we do. They have organs just like us. They feel. They don't want to die. They feel. They feel pain. They eat. They have the same everything. They just look different and sound different.
Yeah.
There's no reason to think that they wouldn't have a soul. Besides that, I've had, most of my animals have come back to me a couple, 2 or 3 times in this lifetime.
And so that goes to the topic of reincarnation, but we'll save that for another discussion.
So I mean, it just blows my mind that people can actually think that some of God's creations have souls, but some don't. Insects have souls.
Right.
Everything that is living has a soul,
yeah.
or spirit, or essence, or whatever you want to call it. It's a beautiful thing, and a lot of people make it out to be like so negative, and so they have to judge everything. And it's think of it as a beautiful gift. Animals are such a beautiful gift to us as humans. They come here to teach us love and compassion. I mean, they have a purpose, just like we have a purpose. They're not lacking anything. They are just the same as us. Okay, I'm getting off my soapbox now.
No, I know you're really passionate about that, and you wanted to share that with everybody. So thank you. we need more people voicing their passions about our world and our environment and animals and those beings we exist.
Right.
Yeah. So we're going to be finishing up this discussion, but before we do, we're going to also eventually meet, you and I, and we're going to discuss about crystals and gemstones. And since we both work with jewelry and we both feel that the vibrations and energy of the jewelry actually can help heal people. But for now, I want you to show everybody a piece of your work because you didn't have it. Yeah. And tell everybody what it is. And you sold this piece, right?
Yeah, I just sold it yesterday. I'm so excited. This is called dioptase, Dioptase, and it is a high vibration stone, and it's a beautiful, deep green, druzy crystal. And this is one of my healing pieces. As you can see, I left the back open, and it's on its host rock matrix, which I'm not exactly sure what that is. But I have a line of healing jewelry where I try to leave the back open. It's designed with minimal metal so that the energy can be felt directly. It has direct contact with the wearer's skin.
And can we talk about the leather cord that it's on? Because you and I had this discussion about.
Well, this is actually ultra suede, so it
okay, good. Okay, good.
Yeah, this is vegan. I did what you call a 4-strand round braid. So it's a Native American thing. I've seen a lot of Native American jewelry. I'm very drawn to Native American jewelry, probably because of my ancestry. But you take 4 strands and you braid it and it comes out in this round braid. It's really cool. But I will say that the person who's buying it, yeah, she just fell in love with it. I kind of like hate to see it go, but anyway.
Yeah, because it's a piece of you, you know.
I'm like that a lot with my jewelry. It's like I make it, and then it's like when I go to send it off, I'm like, you know, first I send Reiki with it, and I'm like, safe travels, and I'm like, I'll miss you.
But it is a gift. It's a gift you're offering to other people to, you know, be able to use. So I think that's great, you know. So is there anything else you want to finish up with? You can give everybody your website if you want, or before you do that, any last remarks or?
I wanted to say a couple things about, and this, like I said, this is with my own experience, you know, use discernment, you know, with animals, and I know I talked about a lot about animals, but it's obviously with my path this lifetime. You know, when I always thought that to receive messages from animals, to know what they need and what they want, I should be able to have this conversation with them in my head. And it's not really like that for me. It's just a knowing. So to me, when you say telepathy or intuition, it's kind of the same thing. You just have a knowing of what someone, or, you know, my animal or my husband, you kind of have a knowing of what they need. It's like a thought. Some people may get it differently. So with my animals, like, they can just look at me and I just know what they need or know what they want. And and I'm sure it has to do with having that heart-to-heart connection with animals.
Yes, that energetic connection.
Right. And I know not everybody has that. But man, if they ever got that, they would see what they were missing. It's just so beautiful.
Because you have to open up that heart chakra to be able to do it.
And I mean, it's just, and we just had to bury our oldest, we called him our old man cat. He was 18 last week. And it was like, I kept sitting there thinking, is it time? Is it time? You question yourself, is it time? You know, and you just hear that voice in your head. You're giving him a gift by letting him pass the way he's going to pass. You're helping him pass, and he's not going to suffer.
Yeah.
Because his kidneys had already shut down, but he was.
And he's already made his decision to go.
Right. And so I was so blessed and grateful and thankful that I could actually give him that gift. He gave me 18 years of his life.
Yes.
I think my gift is even more special.
But, you know, I think the death passage has become something that is negative in our society when it should be honored just as much as birth.
Right.
You know, it's just the soul's passing into a different type of existence, and to be there and be able to share that with either an animal or a person really is an honor.
Right, right. So, you know, those of you who have animals out there, if you think you're not communicating with your animal, and you are more than you realize. You don't have to hear, you know, a conversation between you and them or whoever, because just the knowing,
Yeah.
you know, what they need and what they want when they look at you, and, you know.
I tell you, my dog tries to talk to me. So,
oh, that's cool. You have to share some of that.
Yeah, like he loves me to do. I got him this little fleece throw blanket, and in the morning after I take him out, he'll lay on his bed, and he's all cuddled up, and I'm like, I know he's cold, so I walk over there to throw the blanket on him, and he's making these little noises, you know, like he's trying to talk to me. Thank you for throwing my blanket on there.
Yeah, yeah.
But, yeah, so I think if you just pay attention, they really give you more cues than what we actually pay attention to. So.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So
just remember, not everybody is going to hear the same and see messages the same. That's something I've had to come to grips with, because I wanted to be able to hear in my head. Sometimes I do, but most of the time it's just a knowing, it's just a thought, and I just have to trust that. And it's been a growing process.
So I'm giving everybody your website.
Okay, it's www.gemstonejewelry.danielle.com. Or Facebook is same thing, Gemstone Jewelry by Danielle.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody, and I hope you come back and visit us. I did put an introduction video up just to let you know what we're all about. By no means are we professional. We're just trying to share our knowledge and understanding of what's going on in our world from a higher perspective. So I hope to see everybody back again, and maybe next time we'll have Gordon with us. Yeah. Of course, we live in this physical world, and he had to work today. So, but thank you, Danielle, and I'll talk to you soon. But hang on a minute. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. All right.